We know that there are many places considered holy or sacred even throughout the world, but how do you narrow down which you want to visit? That is, if you're interested in visiting them, which you totally should be. You could learn something about other cultures and have some fun while doing it. We could all use that, right? Time to get down to the nitty-gritty. This is Awesome Sacred Places Around the World. Number 10. Blue Lake. You can find this literal blue lake in New Zealand's Southern Alps in Nelson Lakes National Park. It's fed by a small upper part of the Sabine River and is drained by the west branch of the same river. The lake is the clearest natural body of fresh water reported thus far, and a study done in 2011 declared the visibility to be 230 to 260 feet, whereas the previous record holder measured visibility of just 207 feet. That's by no means unclear, just less clear than Blue Lake, okay? It lay within the tribal area known as Rohe and was traditionally used for ceremonies for releasing spirits of the deceased and cleaning the bones so that they could begin their journey to the afterlife. An exciting fact is that Blue Lake was actually only used for males. A lake named Lake Constance was used for females. It's a beautiful place, and yes, we would visit. We'll take anything with that kind of scenery. Number 9. Hill of Crosses. This cluttered and haunted-looking and at the same time mesmerizing and awesome-looking place can be found in Lithuania and is a place of pilgrimage for Catholics of all kinds. There are tons and tons of crosses, crucifixes, statues, carvings, rosaries, and effigies at the site that have been brought in by those who have made the pilgrimage over the years. Estimates put the number of crosses here at around 55,000 in 1990, and only 16 short years later, that number had swollen to approximately 100,000 in 2006. The location signifies the peaceful, steady endurance of Lithuanian Catholicism, even though it's faced many a threat throughout the course of history. If you want to saunter through hundreds of thousands of crosses and other religious items, this is the place for you. If you'd like to see and feel some solidarity with and connect with the Lithuanian Catholics, this is probably the place for you too. It's a little claustrophobic for us, though. Number 8. Ganden Monastery. This remarkable place is the most significant Tibetan Buddhist monastery in Yunnan province in China. It was built way back in 1679 and is at times referred to as the Little Potala Palace and is the most important monastery in all of southwest China. It's built in a mix of Han Chinese and Tibetan styles, and at its peak, the monastery contained accommodations for some 2,000 monks, whereas today it accommodates 700 monks in 200 houses. It's a significant attraction for tourists from all over, as it's a quick hour's walk from the town of Shangri-La, and it's boasting some pretty impressive structures. The city is very Tibetan and features many rocks and lamaseries, which are inscribed in Tibetan that contain Buddhist sutras and hanging, fluttering Tibetan prayer flags. It looks incredibly beautiful, and this is somewhere we would love to visit someday, wouldn't you? Number 7. Uluru. This giant sandstone rock is known as Uluru, and it's also sometimes called Ayers Rock, and it's found in the southern section of the Northern Territory in Australia. The nearest decent-sized town is still 280 miles to its northeast, and it's Alice Springs. It's considered a very sacred place to the Aboriginal people in the area. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and is home to rock caves, ancient paintings, water holes, and an abundance of springs. It's undoubtedly one of Australia's most recognizable landmarks, and stands 1,142 feet high and encompasses a whopping 5.8 miles. There are walking tours which you can take that will teach you about the Aboriginal Dreamtime stories, the local flora and fauna, and the bush food of the area. The mountain itself changes color from time to time, depending on the time of day and year, and it glows a beautiful red at sunset and dawn. Number 6. Sacred Cenote. Alright, you know a place is sacred when it has the word in its name. Sacred Cenote is found at Chichen Itza, a pre-Columbian Maya archaeological site. Sacred Cenote is named Cenote Sagrado in Spanish, and that actually translates to sacred well, and it is alternatively known as Well of Sacrifice. According to some stories, the pre-Columbian Mayans used to sacrifice human beings and various sacred objects into the cenote as a sort of worship to the Mayan rain god. Cenote Sagrado was dredged by Edward Herbert Thompson from 1904 to 1910, and he recovered many artifacts of pottery, incense, jade, gold, and even some human remains, which, when tested, found that they had wounds consistent with those incurred with human sacrifice. It's thought that it actually became a place of pilgrimage for ancient Mayans who would travel to it just to make their sacrifices, either valuable or gruesome. Number 5. Devil's Tower. According to the Lakota and Kiowa Native American tribes, this is a very sacred place, and it holds high significance in their cultures. How the rock came to be formed, in their opinions, was actually based on multiple different versions of the same basic story of a bear, or bears, chasing children to the location. When the children prayed for help, the massive structure rose up around them and left the bears with no way to get them. That didn't stop the bears trying, though. Thus you see the claw marks on the tower's sides. What we know is that Devil's Rock is a laccolithic butte in the Bear Lodge Mountains in Wyoming that sits just above the Belle Fourche River. It's 867 feet from the base to the summit and is a highly popular attraction and boasts more than 400,000 visitors per year. We aren't 100% sure on exactly how it was formed ourselves, so who knows, the Native American stories could be the real way. Wouldn't it be awesome if we found something like that out? Number 4. Yamdrok Lake. This freshwater lake in Tibet is one of the 3 biggest sacred Tibetan lakes. It's fed by lots of smaller streams and is surrounded by snow-capped mountains. The name Yamdrok in English means turquoise, given its color, and the lake only has one outlet stream that lies at its far western end. According to the mythology held by the locals, the lake itself is actually the transformation of a goddess. The most massive power station in Tibet is the Yamdrok Hydropower Station, which sits at the lake's western end near the little village of Baidi and was completed and dedicated in 1996. Lakes are considered sacred by the Tibetans, as are mountains, and they're thought to be the places in which protective deities call their homes, thus making them unique places with spiritual powers. Yamdrok is one of only 4 extra holy lakes, and everyone from the local villages to the Dalai Lama himself makes pilgrimages to it. It's also believed that if the lake ever goes dry, Tibet will no longer be habitable, as it is the most significant lake in southern Tibet. Number 3. Dome of the Rock. This neat-looking place is located in the old city of Jerusalem on the Temple Mount. It was built where the Jupiter Capitolinus, a Roman temple, used to sit and was initially finished in 691 CE. The Jupiter Capitolinus was actually built on top of the seat of the second Jewish temple. So this is like a temple inside a temple. Inside a temple. This shrine is one of the most ancient extant works of Islamic architecture. The dome is built high above an actual rock at the center of the literal Dome of the Rock, which is called the foundation stone, as seen in this picture here. The stone is also sometimes referred to as the Peace Stone, considering its hole on its southeastern corner that actually leads to a cave that's beneath the foundation stone, called the Well of Souls. In Judaism, this is the holiest location, and millions of Jews all around the world pray facing the direction of the foundation stone. The stone is said to be from what the entirety of Earth was created, and that the rock was the first part of our planet to come into existence. Number 2. Batu Caves. Let's travel to Malaysia and check this place out. Wow, this place is beautiful, and you can find these caves and cave temples in Gombak, Selangor, Malaysia. The name comes from a river that flows past the hill, called the Sungai Batu. It's a limestone hill and is the 10th such hill from Ampang. It's a supremely famous Hindu shrine and is one of the most famous of such shrines outside of India. The area and caves are said to be somewhere around 400 million years old and were used by the indigenous Temuan people for shelter. It was promoted as a place of worship by an Indian trader, and in 1890 he installed the consecrated statue, or Murti, of Sri Murugan Swami here. Wooden steps used to be in place to reach the temple cave, built in 1920, but they've since received an upgrade, and there are now 272 concrete steps leading to the top. Temple Cave houses several Hindu shrines underneath its tall, vaulted ceiling, thus making it the largest and most well-known cave temple of the various that make up the Batu Caves area. Over 1.5 million people visit the Batu Caves yearly, so if you're trying to go, get ready to fight for some standing room. Number 1. Kelimutu. This super beautiful, super impressive looking volcano is located in Indonesia, near the small town called Moni in Central Flores Island. The mountain has 3 separate crater lakes that are all different colors. The science behind this is actually relatively well known. The oxidation reduction status differs, and the levels of various major elements like manganese and iron are higher or lower in each lake. Thus, each lake changes its colors entirely independently from the others and has its own connectivity to the activity of the volcano that it sits on. The colors change relatively rapidly, with 6 color changes happening between January and November 2016 alone. Locals here believe that the magnificent lakes are a resting place for their ancient ancestors and that the colors of the waters correlate and correspond to the spirits' moods. How incredible. Would visit for sure. Did any of these gorgeous locations pique your interest? If you enjoyed this video, like it, comment below, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Keep your eye out for more cool videos coming your way soon.